Welcome back to my channel, Coin Collectors. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 5-cent Buffalo nickel, an iconic American coin that could be worth big money bag. In this video, we'll explore the legendary design, the rich history behind the Buffalo nickel, and the hidden treasures many people overlook. We're counting down the top 6 most valuable, expensive, and ultra-rare 5-cent Buffalo nickels ever discovered in U.S. history. You will hear shocking stories from American coin history, learn about rare color tones and shades, and discover valuable mint mark varieties from the Philadelphia, P, and Denver D mints that collectors and investors are actively searching for today. Here's the shocking truth. Even dirty, worn, or seemingly ordinary Buffalo nickels could be worth thousands, or even millions, of dollars exploding head. So before you spend that old nickel, stick around, because you might be holding a fortune in your hands. Backhand index pointing right. Let's begin with coin number 1. In 1936, when the world was still crawling out of economic darkness and trust in money itself was fragile, a small 5-cent coin carried a message far larger than its size. The Buffalo nickel, already iconic by that time, was nearing the end of its life. It had survived wars, depressions, and political shifts. And sometimes, when something is about to disappear, history presses its fingerprints into it one last time. The 1936 D Buffalo nickel, struck at the Denver Mint, did not enter circulation as a celebrity. It wasn't rare at birth. It wasn't expensive. It passed through hands stained with labor, through pockets worn thin by survival. But coins do not choose their destiny at the moment they are struck. Destiny reveals itself later, through mistakes, survival, and time. This coin carries one of the most emotionally powerful designs ever placed on American money. On one side, a Native American portrait built from multiple real faces, staring forward with quiet defiance, dignity, and endurance. On the other side, a massive American buffalo, grounded, unmoving, a symbol of strength that once roamed the land freely before being pushed to the edge of extinction. This was not decoration. This was storytelling in metal. By 1936, the Buffalo nickel dies were suffering. The design was beautiful and brutal on the minting process. High relief, deep details, heavy pressure. Dies cracked. Details faded quickly. Dates disappeared. Mint marks softened. This is where the legend of the 1936 D truly begins. The Denver Mint mark, that small D, beneath the words 5 cents, is everything. Denver strikes were known for boldness, but also for inconsistency when production surged. In 1936, multiple die states were in use. Some early strikes came out sharp and alive. Others were weak, ghost-like, as if the buffalo itself were fading into history. These differences matter more than most people ever realize. Then there's the detail collectors obsess over, the 3.5-legged buffalo effect. It wasn't intentional. It was never planned. Over-polishing of dies erased part of the buffalo's front leg, creating a visual illusion that looks wrong, unsettling, and unforgettable. Coins that should have been destroyed escaped instead. And those escapees rewrote the value of the entire year. Now understand this clearly. The Buffalo nickel was never silver. It was always a copper-nickel alloy. But history has taught collectors that wrong planchets, experimental stock, and transition mistakes have escaped mints before. A coin that feels heavier, one that rings differently, one that ages in an unexpected way. These anomalies are rare, but rarity lives on the edge of probability, not comfort. Dirty condition Buffalo nickels play a dangerous and fascinating role in this story. Dirt hides detail, but also hides authenticity. Many of the most valuable Buffalo nickels in existence were once dismissed as worthless slugs because their dates were barely visible. People spent them, cleaned them, destroyed them. The survivors, untouched, uncleaned, original, became kings. Collectors know something the public doesn't. Cleaning a coin is not restoration. It is erasure. A dark, grimy 1936. D nickel might still carry untouched mint surfaces beneath decades of neglect. Once scrubbed, that evidence is gone forever. Value doesn't live in shine. It lives in truth. The fantasy of million-dollar nickels circulates endlessly online, but real power is quieter. A normal 1936 D Buffalo nickel is modest in value. But a wrong one, a broken one, a mistaken one, that's where reality bends. Dramatic die cracks running through the Native American's face. Off-center strikes that push the design into chaos. Weak-date examples that reveal over-polished dies. These are not stories. These are events. What gives a 1936 D its lasting gravity is timing. It sits at the intersection of artistry and exhaustion. The Mint wanted this design gone. It was expensive to strike, difficult to maintain, too honest, too raw. Within 2 years, it would be replaced forever. Final era coins often carry the most mistakes because patience runs out before metal does. Most 1936 D Buffalo nickels will never change a life financially. That truth matters. But history is never shaped by most. It is shaped by the few coins that slip through with scars, secrets, and stories no one noticed at the time. If you ever find a 1936 D Buffalo nickel, especially one that looks ugly, worn, dirty, or wrong, do not rush. Do not clean it. Do not assume it is ordinary. Tilt it under light. Study the buffalo's legs. Examine the date. Look for cracks, weakness, or imbalance. Let experts decide its fate, not impatience. Because sometimes a coin doesn't make you rich overnight. Sometimes it gives you something more dangerous. It teaches you that value often hides inside what the world calls worthless. And once you learn that lesson, you never look at money or history the same way again. In 1924, America was standing on the edge of illusion. On the surface, prosperity seemed real. Jazz filled the air, factories roared, and optimism felt endless. But beneath that shine, cracks were already forming. And in that exact moment, a small 5-cent coin was struck in Denver, a coin that would one day become a silent witness to everything that followed. The 1924 D Buffalo nickel did not arrive as a legend. It arrived quietly, unnoticed, underestimated, and dangerously ordinary. The Buffalo nickel itself was never meant to be comfortable from the very beginning. Its design challenged the limits of metal. The Native American portrait on the front was not a single man, but a composite of real faces, real lives, real loss. It stared forward with a presence that felt heavier than 5 cents. On the reverse, the buffalo stood grounded and immovable, a symbol of strength already fading from the American landscape. This was not decoration. It was memory pressed into alloy. By 1924, the U.S. Mint was already tired of this coin. The design was expensive to strike. The dies wore out fast. Details vanished quickly. Dates faded. Mint marks softened. And Denver, working under pressure, produced coins that were often uneven, imperfect, and unpredictable. That unpredictability is where collectors lean in. The D Mint mark on the 1924 Buffalo nickel is everything. Denver strikes from this year are notorious for weakness. The date often blends into field, almost disappearing like a whispered secret. Many people spent these coins without a second glance because they believed the date was gone forever. They were wrong. Under the right light, under the right angle, history reappears. The irony is powerful. The weaker the strike, the rarer the survival. Coins that were poorly struck wore down faster, vanished faster, and were discarded faster. That means fewer made it to the present day. Scarcity is not always about how many were made. It's about how many lived long enough to be noticed. Now let's speak clearly, because truth matters. The Buffalo nickel is not a silver coin. It never was. It is a copper-nickel alloy, born tough, born dull, born industrial. But history has taught collectors something uncomfortable. Mistakes do not follow rules. Wrong planchets have escaped mints before. Experimental blanks have slipped through. Transitional metals have been struck accidentally. These coins do not announce themselves. They wait. A coin that feels heavier than it should. One that sounds different when dropped. One that ages in an unfamiliar way. These are the whispers collectors listen for, not the shouting headlines online. Value lives in anomalies, not promises. Dirty condition coins are where this story becomes dangerous. A dark, crusted, ugly 1924, the Buffalo nickel may look worthless to an untrained eye, but dirt can protect, dirt can preserve. Beneath decades of neglect may be untouched mint surface, original texture, evidence that cleaning would destroy forever. Many priceless coins were once dismissed as trash because someone judged them too quickly. Collectors learn early that cleaning a coin is not improvement, it is vandalism. The moment a coin is scrubbed, polished, or chemically altered, its history is damaged. The market does not forgive that. Original surfaces, even damaged ones, carry truth. Truth is expensive. The internet loves dramatic fantasies, $1,000,000 nickels. Spend it once and regret forever. Most of that is noise. But inside the noise is a real, quieter truth. Coins become truly valuable only when they are wrong in rare, provable, irreversible ways. A severe off-center strike that drags a buffalo toward the rim. A die crack slicing through Native American's face like a scarf frozen in time. An over-polished die that erases detail and creates ghost-like features. These are not stories. These are physical events. What makes the 1924 D special is survival. It lived through the Roaring '20s, the Great Depression, World War II, and the melting pot of modern commerce. Most were lost, melted, worn smooth, forgotten. The ones that remain, especially those with visible dates, original surfaces, or dramatic errors, carry disproportionate weight in the collector world. Most 1924 D Buffalo nickels will never change anyone's life financially. That truth must be respected. But history has never been written by most. It is written by exceptions. And exceptions are discovered by people who pause when others rush. If you ever hold a 1924 D Buffalo nickel, especially one that looks ugly, worn, dirty, or strange, do not assume it is ordinary. Do not clean it. Do not spend it out of impatience. Tilt it. Study the date. Examine the buffalo's legs. Look for cracks, weakness, or imbalance. Let knowledge speak before impulse does. Because sometimes a coin does not make you rich overnight. Sometimes it gives you something more dangerous than money. It teaches you to question what looks worthless. And once you learn that lesson, you start seeing hidden value everywhere, not just in coins, but in history, in objects, and in moments the world rushes past. In 2005, something strange happened in American money. A design from the past came back to life. But it did not return as a copy. It returned as a message. The Buffalo Nickel lookalike of 2005, officially part of the Westward Journey series, entered circulation quietly, almost disguising itself as nostalgia. People saw it, smiled, and spent it. That moment, the moment people choose familiarity over curiosity, is where history hides its most valuable surprises. This was not the original Buffalo Nickel, and that confusion alone gives the 2005 Pete issue its power. The United States Mint deliberately reached backward in time, reviving imagery tied to exploration, loss, survival, and expansion. When a modern mint intentionally plays with history, mistakes become more likely because symbolism is layered on top of speed, technology, and pressure. The Philadelphia Mint, marked by the silent P, produced massive quantities of these nickels. But high volume never means high safety. It means fatigue. Dies were swapped quickly. Blanks move fast. Quality control leaned on averages, not exceptions. And exceptions are where collectors live. The design itself is emotional. On one side, Thomas Jefferson is no longer calm and distant. His portrait is bold, close, almost confrontational. On the reverse, the buffalo returns, not the same buffalo, but a reminder of what America once erased. This design carries weight, and weight stresses metal. Stress reveals weakness. Weakness creates variety. Now here's where reality gets dangerous. This coin is not silver. It never was. But value does not require silver. It requires mistakes that cannot be repeated. And modern coins are far from immune to mistakes. In fact, modern speed makes certain errors more likely, not less. Some 2005, P. Nickels escaped with misaligned strikes, where the design drifts toward the rim like it's trying to escape the coin itself. Some showed die cracks running like lightning through Jefferson's face or the buffalo's back. Others reveal lamination errors, where the metal begins to peel, exposing the inner layers like a wound frozen in time. These are not myths. These are physical events. And then there are the coins people destroy without realizing it, the dirty ones. A dark, ugly 2005 P Buffalo-style nickel might look worthless to someone chasing shine, but collectors know better. Dirt protects originality. Dirt hides untouched mint texture. Dirt can preserve microscopic evidence that cleaning wipes away forever. The moment a coin is scrubbed, its story is silenced. The internet loves shouting about million-dollar coins, but real wealth speaks quietly. A normal 2005 P nickel is worth face value. That truth matters. But a wrong 2005 P nickel, struck off-center, cracked, doubled, peeled, or misfed, becomes something else entirely. It steps out of circulation and into history. What makes the 2005 issue especially fascinating is psychology. People assume modern coins could never be rare. They assume mistakes were a thing of the past. That assumption created blind spots. Blind spots allow rare coins to survive unnoticed, sitting in jars, drawers, and forgotten containers while collectors search elsewhere. This nickel also carries a deeper power. It connects old America to new America. It reminds us that history doesn't move forward cleanly. It loops, it echoes, and sometimes it repeats just long enough for a few pieces of metal to capture the moment. Most of these coins will never make anyone rich. That must be said honestly. But history has never been built by most. It is built by the few pieces that escape normal rules. The ones that look wrong. The ones that feel wrong. The ones that make you pause. If you ever find a 2005 P Buffalo-style nickel, do not dismiss it. Do not clean it. Do not assume modern means meaningless. Hold it under light. Compare it to another. Listen to its sound. Examine its edges. Let patience replace impulse. Because sometimes a coin doesn't change your fortune overnight. Sometimes it changes how you see value forever. And once that change happens, you stop spending history without looking at it first. In 2005, American money did something unusual. It looked backward instead of forward. While the world was racing toward digital screens and invisible payments, a 5-cent coin revived the spirit of the past. The buffalo returned, not as a relic, not as a museum piece, but as circulating money. The 2005 D Buffalo-style nickel struck at the Denver Mint, entered daily life quietly, almost playfully, and that quiet arrival is exactly what makes it dangerous to ignore. This coin was part of the westward journey era, a moment when the U.S. Mint decided to retell the American story through metal. When mints tell stories instead of just striking currency, emotion enters the process. Emotion creates pressure. Pressure creates mistakes. And mistakes are the birthplace of legendary coins. The Denver Mint, marked by that small but powerful D, was running at high speed in 2005. Millions upon millions of nickels poured out day after day, shift after shift. High volume does not mean perfection. It means exhaustion. Dies were changed quickly. Blanks move fast. Quality control focus on averages, not outliers. And outliers are where collectors hunt. The design itself carries weight. Thomas Jefferson no longer appears distant or polite. His portrait is bold, close, almost confrontational, as if he's stepping out of history to challenge the present. On the reverse, the buffalo stands again, massive, grounded, symbolic of a land that was once limitless and then nearly erased. This imagery is not gentle on metal. Strong relief creates stress. Stress exposes weakness. Weakness creates variety. Now, clarity matters. This coin is not silver. It was never meant to be. It is a modern copper-nickel alloy. But value does not come from metal alone. It comes from irreversible mistakes, and modern coins are not immune to them. In fact, speed and automation sometimes make them more likely. Some 2005, D. Nickels escaped with dramatic flaws. Misaligned strikes pull the design toward the rim, making Jefferson look like he's sliding out a coin. Die cracks split the surface like lightning frozen in metal. Lamination errors cause the surface to peel, revealing inner layers like an exposed scar. Doubling creates ghost images that shouldn't exist. These are not internet stories. They are physical realities that only appear when machines, metal, and time collide. Dirty condition coins are where the story turns serious. A dark, stained, ugly nickel is often dismissed as worthless. But collectors know something most people don't. Dirt can protect. Dirt can seal original mint surfaces underneath, preserving microscopic texture that proves authenticity. Cleaning a coin doesn't help it. Cleaning erases it. Once scrubbed, the evidence is gone forever. The internet shouts about million-dollar coins, but real value whispers. A normal 2005 D Buffalo-style nickel is worth face value. That truth must be respected. But a wrong 2005 D nickel is something else entirely. It steps out of circulation and into history. Its value is not decided by hype, but by uniqueness, documentation, and survival. What makes the 2005 D especially fascinating is psychology. People believe modern coins could never be special. They believed rarity ended decades ago. That belief created blindness. Blindness allows rare coins to pass through hands untouched, unexamined, unprotected. Some are still out there, sitting in jars, glove compartments, drawers, and forgotten boxes, mistaken for nothing. This nickel also carries symbolic power. It connects early American expansion with modern mass production. It reminds us that history doesn't stay buried. It resurfaces when least expected, sometimes disguised as change you almost didn't bother to look at. Most of these coins will never change anyone's life financially. That honesty matters. But history has never been written by most. It is written by the few coins that slip through with scars, errors, and stories no one noticed at the time. If you ever find a 2005 D Buffalo-style nickel, especially one that looks dirty, strange, or imperfect, do not rush. Do not clean it. Do not assume modern means meaningless. Hold it under light. Compare it to another nickel. Listen to its sound. Examine its edges. Let patience speak before impulse acts. Because sometimes a coin doesn't make you rich overnight. Sometimes it gives you something far more powerful. It teaches you to slow down and look twice at what the world tells you is ordinary. And once you learn that lesson, you stop spending history without thinking first.